A major part of the outcome of the over 3 hours of meeting of the Southern governors on Monday in Lagos is the issue of zoning or rotation of presidency, especially that of 2023. Daniel Buala, a lawyer and a member of the Lincoln's Inn, joins us from our Abuja studio. And here in Lagos, Tokwe Fasua, an economist and a 2019 presidential candidate and the national chairman of ANRP, is here with me in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming to join us tonight to discuss this issue. Let's get started. And I'd like both of you to listen and hear what the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum said in Lagos on Monday in relation to 2023 and rotation. Take a listen to Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State.
In order to consolidate our democracy and strengthen electoral process, the Southern Governors Forum rejects the removal of electronic transmission of election results from the Electoral Act and rejects the confirmation of exclusive jurisdiction in pre-election matters on the Federal High Court.
Well, that is the governor speaking about the Electoral Act, not the 2023 zoning. If my producer can just get us the one on the zoning so that my guests can take a listen to that and react to it. All right, we get to it in a moment. I'm being told that they will get that to us. But let me get the view of Mr. Daniel Buala to get the conversation started for us. Mr. Buala, give us a sense of what you make. 2023, the governors of the southern region of the country says what is fair is fair. And fairness, according to them, is that 2023, the presidency should go to the south.
Well, thank you for having me. And let me sort of predict before I then give you the premise. I predict that power will go to the south, and most especially the south-south, given the trend of event and trajectories. But regarding the position of the south-south governors, I think it is grandstanding in my view because of the following reasons. Number one, from the legal standpoint, everyone knows that the Constitution does not provide for zoning. And it is only when the Constitution provides or any extant law provides for an item that elected officers can come together and begin to call on the president, whose duty under Section 5 is to execute the provisions of the Constitution, to call on him to say you should zone. The president does not have the legal authority or the constitutional powers to zone the power anywhere in the country. That is premise number one. Number two, the idea that they are partisan on a common front in terms of a demand for power to go to the south is also suspect. Suspect in the sense that if you look at the constitution of PDP, for instance, they provided for zoning. And the last time PDP had power, it was the south that was in power. And ordinarily, you would think that by now, without any conversation, the power should come to the north. The question there is whether if a northerner competes for a post and fails to win, it means that the power that was zoned will now move elsewhere. I do not think that is the intendment of their constitution. However, the candidate from any geopolitical or regional zone competes until the power moves to that before it can then move back. So even from the perspective of PDP, power should go to the north. Now, from the APC, it's a good argument to say that power should go to the south because power has been in the north for 6 years and is likely to stay for 8 years. That is a good case. But it should be the APC governors that should then begin to converse that in APC as a party. More so, the chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum is an APC governor and is from the south. And this governor has leverage because he has a degree of influence control. The doors of the president are open to him. Secondly, he has access to all the governors in the north. So instead of politicking, which is the requirement in political process, because even if the power is zoned to the south, for example, it cannot just go like that. There has to be some horse trading. There has to be some negotiation. There has to be some politicking. It is a game of politics. So you cannot come together as a group and place a demand on somebody, one, who does not have the legal authority to zone the power. And if that ultimatum or that decree or whatever demand is to persons other than the president, then it is uncalled for to sit together in a meeting and then make that as a declaration. Now, just like in the case of ranching and grazing route, for example, they made demand for ranching, but it is also unnecessary because the entire governors forum are at Edom that ranching is the best way. And you have also heard that good number of northern governors, in fact, governors of states in the north that you cannot be a president if you don't win, have lent their support for ranching. All you need is just to leverage on that kind of synergy and see how you can galvanize forces to then face the one person who does not believe in the ranching. But once you collapse yourself together in a region to begin to make a regional demand, even the governors you have in the north who are supportive and are sympathetic of your cause will begin to see that as a red flag and begin to then go back to their zone. And then at the end of the day, you have the issue of ethnic championship instead of patriotism and citizenship in Nigeria.
Mr. Fasua, do you have a problem with the Southern Governors Forum's position? It does look like Mr. Buala does not really agree that they can come together as a group in that regard.
Well, I think they've stated their position. Of course, I do not believe it's a matter for the president, sitting president, to adjudicate upon. By every means, the sitting president shouldn't be determining who runs in 2023 or who doesn't. He should be out of the picture. By now, he should be what they call a lame duck president, all right? So politics should kick in, the parties should do what they need to do. Like Daniel said, and I also agree that in APC, it'll be opposite to get someone from the South. You know, that's their internal politics. But given that Buhari is likely going to be there for 8 years and he's from the core North, okay, then they may want to take it down to the South and let somebody else have a shot. Then the issue will be, is it from Southeast, South-South, or Southwest, or wherever? They're going to have to deal with that. The whole idea of power shift and so on is their internal party politics, really. Codified in PDP, not quite in APC, because they've not had that much time to say they're shifting power around. So basically, this is how it's going to be. But let me also let you know, and no matter what they do, so long as there are more than two parties, and the first thing is that the PDP is waiting to see for the APC to make the first move. If they go south, they probably want to bring someone from up north and then try to leverage on the numbers stuff. And no party wants to lose power, so it's always going to be like that. And then no matter what happens, you know, if these two people put their flag bearers forward, I can assure you that people from everywhere in Nigeria will also come up in the other parties trying to get some power. Over and above everything is that when you hear a lot of this noise about power shift and so on, if it was about making Nigeria better, then it's great. But oftentimes it's all about just getting the power for the sake of having the power. And that's where the problem is. I tell people, be careful what you wish for. And also be careful the routes you pass to obtain power, because usually people become victims of the same instruments that they deploy in getting power. We shouldn't be still at this point, but we find ourselves at a point where we're still talking about tribal politics, regional politics, and all of that. And I'm not seeing very deep thinking in terms of how do we move this entity called Nigeria forward? How do we improve the lives of our people, no matter where they're from? And we're not even agreeing on some very core issues. I mean, we're still debating things like cattle rearing and so on. We're not even agreed on taking 15 million children out of the streets, which is the only thing that can guarantee any future for this country. We're not agreeing on the core issues of bridging the gap, the poverty gap in this country. We're not agreeing on things like, you know, where do the revenue and the taxes come from if the rich people of this country and the guys who have found themselves in all of these places are willing to pay something back, some sort of elite consensus that would even guarantee their own enjoyment of their own. We're not agreeing on all of those things. And that's the problem.
The issue of political fairness has generated a lot of bickering and largely created some artificial, if I may use that word, insecurity in the country, where people are not satisfied, people are not happy with what is going on, and they are now bickering and they are agitated. In 2011, the major contenders, Nuhu Ribadu, Shekarau, Hamadu Buhari, Yaradua, all from the north. It does look like all of the political parties, the major ones, agreed on where to go. In 1990 and 1999, it does look like that agreement also went in that direction.
Yeah.
But let me allow you again to, I guess we now have it, I'm being told, the governor of Ondo State on the issue of zoning, what they want from the Southern Governors Forum point of view. Take a listen to him.
The forum reiterates its commitment to the policies of equity, fairness, and unanimously agreed that the presidency of Nigeria be rotated between southern and northern Nigeria, and resolve that the next president of Nigeria should emerge from the south.
Well, you heard it there. So if you're saying that it does look like from your own permutations, a political party might take advantage because issues of natural causes happened in 2015 where the party did not envisage that the president was going to, a sitting president was going to die. Should that happen, would that destabilize the political process?
If what should happen?
If the permutation that you brought on,
no,
the PDP or the APC might just be weighing the options.
They will always watch themselves and hedge themselves, and of course, everybody wants to grab this power back again and all of that. And of course, it's good when they are there. And what you'd ask yourself is, what have they done when PDP was there for 16 years? How far did we fare? When APC has been there for 8 years or 6, getting on for 8 years, how well have we done as a country? What are the indices? Everything is looking down south, whether you're talking about unemployment or poverty or what have you, you know. So that's the real concern. But I tell you, this is real politics, and this is how it's going to play out. So these gentlemen, they have said, look, they wanted to go to the south, wishful thinking. But the point is, like I agree with Boala, that, look, they should be talking to their party. Now, in 1999, we had a consensus of sorts as a result of the June 12th debacle. And for some reason, the AD and the PDP, then they managed to put forward 2 Southwest people, all right? And we didn't have a choice. The ideal situation that could have happened in 2023 would be for us to take this into the Southeast, all right? Ideally. That's it. And listen, when I tell people, the only way I would actually want to give the big parties some sort of redeeming feature is if they can show ownership of Nigeria itself. So, okay, like the small parties like ours were deregistered and all of that, but these big parties in showing ownership of Nigeria should have been able to say, okay, because of Nigeria, because of our people, because we want the next government to have some rest. You can see that these governments are coming now and none of them is resting. Jonathan did not rest. Buhari is not resting. And people are going to say, people swear and all of that, and some of the agitations they are seeing are largely political. A lot of it is political, like he rightly said. So if they could have said, okay, now we're going to the Southeast, so I'm going to put up 2 people. The issue then becomes, who in the Southeast? Who is actually stepping forward? People have said Peter Obi, we're not seeing him making that move. Kingsley Moghalu is making some moves, but we would have wanted to see a groundswell. Unfortunately, even the Southeast itself capitulated to some extremist, version of politics in leaving the space and to the rhetoric of secession and separation, which doesn't work. Bad politics. Because again, the secession cannot work. It can't even happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to be a long, drawn-out, painful, costly in terms of human life kind of thing.
But
these two gentlemen, yeah.
I've had a guest here who said to me, Sheol, you cannot blackmail the North to work with you. You have to speak with them, and
I believe so. I think so. If
so?
They do have the numbers, well,
as not obviously have the numbers.
As per our population censuses and so on, the North has the numbers. I'll tell you what. I embedded with the North recently. I was in the North for quite a while, interacting with people in Kano especially, and elsewhere. And even the people I've been interacting with in Abuja, most Northerners, even peasants, believe that this power should go to the South now. Even peasants in the North. So it's going to be pretty easy. And like Wala said, really, it is true that by the time you take this, you're coming from an extreme position, shouting down on them, cursing them, and saying all sorts of things, then they're going to put up their guards, and that is not how to build a country. I put it to you.
Wasn't what we are saying now this similar thing that will happen pre-2011? Let me ask Mr. Boala. I mean, we saw the North galvanize. We saw the North say it must come to the North in 2011. So the question would be, what has changed? What is different from now when Southerners are saying it has to come to the South?
When the North insisted that power should come to the North in 2011, did it go? As a matter of fact, some of the lawyers that were then arguing that it was Jonathan's right to contest, and in fact, anybody's right, there is no zoning arrangement and the rest, that same lawyers are the ones now saying the power should go to this South. The same set of lawyers that in 2014, when the confirm conference report was ready, and they asked Goodluck President Jonathan to sign into law, and he said he will not. People were challenging him to court. The same lawyer that defended him and asked him not to sign are the ones now asking for a new constitution. I know that there are political sides to this type of thing, but let me tell you something about our APC, and especially governors from APC in the South. You see, the chairman of the Governors Forum is from APC and is from the South. The chairman of APC in the Southwest is an APC and is from the South. They appear to be the ones that are leading the shout for the power to go to the South, even though, arguably, the highest number of infrastructure development in the administration of President Buhari is in the Southwest. Now, when you begin to make that push, what you will do is that by the time you force this thing out of the support of the North, they will simply go to the South and support a candidate for the presidency. That is one part of the problem. The second one is that you will play into the hands of PDP. If you have noticed, whenever they sit in the South to talk about these things, PDP governors are there quiet, setting trap. What do I mean by that? If APC forced this idea of not waiting for the party to make a decision, forcing this idea of power should come to the South, power should come to the South, the minute it is released or supported grudgingly, if PDP fronts a candidate from the North, the APC members in the northern electors, in APC will go en masse and vote for PDP, and then by 2023, PDP will snatch power from government. I will advise APC governors in the Southwest to play the politics with wisdom, because wisdom is profitable to direct, and without wisdom, there are a multitude of struggle.
That even if there is an agreement, because a lot of things that people are asking, because the next conversation for me as a Nigerian is what President Buhari did when he signed the Not Too Young to Run bill. And he said, please, do not run against me, you young people. Let it be after I spend my 8 years. I think that one of the conversations that is major is looking for young and vibrant Nigerians, no matter where they come from, to run for office in 2023. The question of zoning, where it zones to, will matter, even if there is an agreement, because some people are waiting for President Buhari to say, I agree, you should go to the South. Now, if it goes to the South, the question now is, where in the South? The Southeast, we say, they rightly deserve to produce a president. Is that not going to be another problem, Mr. Boala?
No, the way it works is that if the party now says the power is zoned to the South, it means that candidates from the South, irrespective of South-South or Southwest or Southeast, when they go for the primaries, the North now will determine who amongst the candidates in the primaries they will support for the ticket. And that is why I'm telling you, prophetically from today, that a South-South candidate will emerge from APC as a presidential candidate. And regarding the youthfulness, we are president saying, that's why we had program recently, the youth of APC, the progressives. And we say that since we constitute the highest number of supporters, highest number of voters, highest number of volunteers, that the young generation of people in APC should begin to have their place of pride in elective position, not just supporters, but in prime place to stand for office. Now, as per who will come out of the primaries in APC should the power be moved to the South, is something you can never predict, not even somebody who is presently conceiving the idea. Because in politics, 3 minutes is like 30 years.
Mr. Mr. Fasua, where do you see this going? Because if you look at it mathematically speaking, assuming I have my board and so I can break it down for people to understand, when you look at the voting population, the number, the 6 states with the highest voting population, you have at least 4 of them in the north. Kano, Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, and you have Rivers and Lagos joining the fray. So the question is that you need the north and you need the buying of the north. From what Daniel has said, what's your view on what could be a tendency that could cause another friction when it comes to the south?
Well, of course, the issue will be for the south. We're in the south, okay? He said south. I think Daniel is trying to dissemble, some sort of strategy and put some words around. Because after Jonathan, why would it be south again? That would be an issue. So the issue of if it was going to be in the south, is it south, southwest, or southeast? I said southeast ideally, but given the politics and how it's playing out and the isolationist politics I see coming from that region, which they are not even walking back yet, then it begins to look like the Southwest may want to come. And then again, so are we also, but I heard something very interesting here today. Are we asking that they zone it to the young people? If they're going to zone to the young people in any of the parties, I would expect that the young guys who are really articulate and strong and can speak up and do stuff should begin to move now. Look, it's 2021. The elections is in February 2023. If Nigerians don't know your face, of course you can come from either of the two parties and rely on their structure. But still, it's important for Nigerians to know who you are, to know your face, to know what you are capable of doing. Because before you know it, the time is gone.
Unfortunately,
so that's it.
The young people, they are very fast-paced. And they are very agile. But when it comes to
politics is not on Twitter.
No,
politics
absolutely.
is on the ground.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to politics, young people have not shown that agility to come up with strategies. And I think from what you said,
and you know, we did our best in 2019. It was a great time to do that. But young people must not get tired. In any of the big parties, the bottom line should be, at the end of the day, taking this power and using it for Nigerians to get better, not just for yourself and for your ego trips and so on.
Dr. Fasua, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on today. Dr. Fasua, an economics and the national chairman of NRP. And Daniel Boala from our Abuja studio. It's always a pleasure to have you, a lawyer and a member of the Lincoln Inn. Thank you so much indeed, gentlemen, for your thoughts tonight.
Cheers.
Well, that's how we leave it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Akimbale. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.